What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Life Sedans podcast. I am your host, Trey Kulada. Thank you, as always, for pressing play and joining me on my journey through self-discovery, untangling the mess that is the human mind so that we can be our most authentic selves and live our most authentic lives and fulfill our fullest potentials. If you're new here, welcome. Today, we are talking about weeding out the gardens of our minds, because all throughout the month of April, I'm focusing on spring cleaning for the mind and spirit, and doing that so that we can welcome transformation into our lives. Because if we want transformation, true transformation, we cannot be the same person that we were yesterday. And in order for us to change our limiting beliefs and thought patterns, we have to identify what those are. And those, my friends, are the weeds. So the last episode that I recorded, I asked you guys to do a little bit of homework, which I hope you did, because I did. And the homework was for you to go through your day as you normally would, but just pay attention to some of the predominant thoughts that might pop up, specifically limiting thoughts and beliefs. And our beliefs are essentially a thought that we keep thinking over and over and over again. And unfortunately for us as humans, 90% of the thoughts we think on a daily basis are the same as the day before. So I guess on the good side, it should be relatively easy to figure out what some of these repeating, limiting beliefs and thoughts are. So that said, for me, I'm going to share what my list is, because I have a list. This weekend was a little tumultuous. And just to caveat my next statement, I have suffered with depression for a long time. And so a lot of times my feelings of, just any types of feelings it's just kind of like a roller coaster ride. Like I feel joy and I feel exuberance. And then, the next day I could be feeling sorrow and, self-conscious and self-doubt, unworthy. You get the picture. So this was one of those weekends that was particularly hard. I've been working on a tough project. It's something I've never done before. And I have been going through a period of heavy ebbs and flows of self-doubt. So I'm just going to get to the list. Number 1, I don't have what it takes. Number 2, feelings of envy. There wasn't any specific statement that was popping into my mind, but I was noticing a lot of envy popping up, specifically around a conversation that I had with one of my best friends, which we'll get to in a minute. 3, I'm right. He, she, they are wrong. I feel like this is one that comes up a lot for everyone. So I'm sure you can relate. Number 4, I'm stuck. And number 5, everything I touch turns to shit. Because I'm having one of those weeks or weekends, whatever you want to call it, where it just felt like no matter what I did, there was some little tiny obstacle that was getting in my way, or just, shit not going my way. We've all had those days. We've all had those weeks, or maybe even months, or years. So the key to us changing our mindsets around this and really clearing out the space in order to make our predominant thoughts ones of joy, certainty, confidence, and happiness is for us to be able to identify these limiting thoughts and beliefs. That's the very first step. And we really need to dig deep here, because some of us, most of us, are so addicted to the subconscious thoughts that we have and the programming that we have running in the back of our minds, because it's our identity. We identify as fill in the blank. I used to identify as the sassy little girl from the East Coast who's not going to take no shit from nobody. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen Goodfellas, like, fuck you, pay me. That used to be my attitude, and I was proud to cling to that persona. But it turns out that that persona and that identity and that egotistical version of myself was not serving me. So I had to find another way. I had to find another path. And through a lot of coaching and a lot of reading and self-reflection, journaling, etc., I have found that some of these tools have really helped me to identify and make room for big transformations. Like, I am now a more understanding person than I have ever been in my entire life. And when you think about the amount of stress and resistance that we go around carrying every single day because we're so tightly wound and wanting to connect and stay connected to our egos, even when it's not necessarily serving us, it's a losing game. It's a no-sum game. It's just not going to get you where you want to be, especially if we're talking about manifesting and leveling up. So that said, let's dive into a couple of these because they came from different places. Now, I want to get into that because, for instance, the I don't have what it takes statement, that's something that I've carried around with me for a very long time. It's almost like every time I challenge myself to do something more and more difficult, and of course, as we level up, the challenges do get more and more difficult, I always come back to this kind of same kind of safety net thought, right? Because I'm so used to thinking it. I don't have what it takes. And it repeats over and over. And it's a feeling, and I feel it in my shoulders and my heart, I feel it in different places. Whereas on the flip side, the feelings of envy, that came from a conversation, just a simple conversation on the phone that I had with a friend of mine that really upset me because she was talking about, the alimony payments that she got awarded from her husband or ex-husband. And somehow, and I didn't even think anything of it. When we were having the conversation, I wasn't feeling envious. It wasn't until she texted me later and said, I'm sorry for sharing that with you. I didn't mean to belittle your situation, almost making me feel small that I'm not getting that kind of money from my ex-husband. And so then I went into envy and anger, and I was pissed off that she would even insinuate that I was mad about it. So then these things kind of beg the question, how do we change that? How do we go about pulling these weeds from our hearts and our minds and our souls? Because at first, when I got this text message from my friend apologizing for the information she had shared with me, I was pissed and I wanted to prove a point, going back to the I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing, where it's well, at least I'm independent and I don't have to rely on alimony in order to survive. I would much rather that, but that's my journey. That's my story. And me projecting that or expressing that to her is not going to make either of us feel better, really, if you think about it. But in the moment, I thought it would. I wanted to be petty. So I had to take a step back and pull that weed out and really ask myself, is this the thought that I want to have around this conversation? I'm happy for her that she's getting what, she wanted in the divorce settlement. That's great. And the fact that she may or may not think that I have a problem or view myself as less, I guess is what was really bothering me. But I have to get over that. That's her perspective, not mine. And again, when I really thought about it, it's like, well, would I rather have thousands of dollars a month coming in from my ex-husband? Or would I rather know that I'm actually making it out here in the world, raising my kids with my new husband as a strong, independent figure to my children? I think I'll take the second. And that's my preference. And that's okay. So that's a big weed I had to pull out of my brain and out of my heart. And I don't have what it takes. I mean, again, we have to be able to just sit and identify these things, because I'm going to get into in another episode how we go about reframing these predominant thoughts. But it's very important to get just the process of admitting that you and declaring out loud or writing it down on paper, getting it out of you, what these limiting beliefs are. We have to identify them first. They can't just be sitting, rattling around in your brain, and then you expect to change it and change the wiring and change your energy around these things and change your beliefs around these things so that you can transform and manifest the person that you want to become. You can't do it without doing this step of just physically identifying what those things are. If you can't pull a weed out that you can't see. And some weeds even kind of look like flowers. So, and think about that. It's like sometimes, again, going back to the beginning of the show, it's like some of us are so tightly connected to that ego and the identity of the person that we are right now that we don't want to let go. So identifying those parts of us that we do want to let go of and that we have to let go of in order to become the better, higher version of ourselves is critical. So I'm going to end it there because I'm going to do a whole nother episode on what we do once we've identified the weeds that are in our minds. Because I'll go back through the same exact list and explain to you how I work through each and every single one of them. But the process of identifying them in this episode was just about figuring out where they even get triggered from. One was a phone conversation. One was, looking at this project that I have going on and saying, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I mean, a lot of us get triggered and stimulated from social media. Maybe it's a conversation we have with our kids or our spouse. So as you go through your day, identify these things, write them down so that we can pull the weeds out. That will be in the next episode. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please, I invite you to share it with somebody else who might have a lot of weeds in their mind or in their heart or in their soul that they need to start, picking out and cleaning out this springtime, okay? Because I think we're all here for some transformation. We're all ready for it. We've been feeling some residual kind of ickiness and junk, right? Spiritual junk from, news media. Something's going on. Is Mercury in retrograde? Somebody tell me in the comments. I don't know. Either way, I'm feeling a little stagnation here. So I'm ready to clean it out and feel that joy and feel that exuberance that we all deserve. Okay? I'm here for this. You're here for this. Let's do it. Until next time, guys, let's dance.